Hello everyone, welcome to Autos on the Herald. I'm Pam Stack and today we have a very special guest joining us, Otto Lee Gerard. He's here to talk about his powerful, emotional new book, Bruce and Paul. This is a story about identity, truth, love, self-discovery, and the courage it takes to finally live honestly. Lee, thank you very much for being here today. It's wonderful having you here. Okay, let's start with your introduction. I can you start with telling us who you are, your name, and where you're from.
Well, my pen name is Lee Gerard. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. I have been writing only since June of 2024. All growing up through school, I was a math and science person, and I hated reading because I couldn't read. I am dyslexic, so I have trouble unscrambling words. So as a child, I hated reading, so I never really got into it until a little bit later. Then I started forcing myself to read because I knew I had to. It's part of life; you have to read. So I started reading books that interested me, like horses and dogs and stuff like that. And then I got better at it. So now I can read. It's still a little bit slow, but I can still read.
Wow, glad to hear that. Thank you very much.
Yes. So this book that we're talking about, Bruce and Paul, is the second book I've published. The first one is called Diamonds from Darkness. It's a basic autobiography up until high school, and then it changes over to a serial killer novel, which I'm not. So yeah, that was my first book, and then I started writing. Well, but Bruce and Paul is actually my fourth novel, but it's the second one published. So I got this idea. I wanted to basically write a Hallmark story of two guys, because Hallmark doesn't really do that. They'll occasionally have someone in a secondary couple or something is there, but not the main characters. So that's why I set Bruce in New York City, which is 2.5 hours away from his hometown in Factoryville, Pennsylvania. And I grew up in that area, so I know it pretty well. So that's why I picked it. But he goes home let me back up. So he's living with a girl, his girlfriend, Connie, but she doesn't do anything for him sexually. I mean, the only way he can perform with her is to think of guys at the gym in the changing room. So that's the only way he can keep himself ready to go. So his partner, his assistant at work, because he works for Merrill Lynch as a financial investment banker, basically, and his assistant is gay and has a fiance, and they had a conversation one day about this, and Henry, that's the assistant, said, well, maybe you just need to try something with a guy, right? So they said, well, let's go out to karaoke tonight. It was on a Monday, and we'll go to the Eagle, which is a gay bar in New York City. So they go there, and Bruce hooks up with somebody there, and he really feels comfortable with the guy as opposed to his girlfriend. So he's trying to figure out how he's going to tell her that he has to, break up because he's gay. And so the next day she tells him that she's leaving to move back to Vermont to help her her father had died and her mother needed help with the other children. So she was moving back to Vermont to help with them. So he basically got off scot-free of having to tell her that he was breaking up with her because he wasn't into her. And then Bruce goes to Pennsylvania for his 10-year class reunion, and he reconnects with a bunch of his old classmates, and surprisingly, there were like 20 of them that are actually gay, and there were only like 97 students.
Wow.
So it was a little high. But he did meet Paul again, they were childhood friends, but in high school, Bruce is a brainiac and Paul is just a dumb farmer. So, they weren't in the same circles at all. And they end up getting together, and then he's only home for he's home for a whole week, but 5 days is on a cruise with his parents. So he goes on a cruise with his parents, and he's struggling with trying to tell his parents that he's gay because he thinks his father's really gonna freak out like mine did. So he goes, and they're on the cruise, and he happened to meet some guys in a sauna that he played around with, and he told them what room he was in, and then one of them's knocking on his door at 10 at night, and his father's like, "Who are you?" And anyway, so the next morning at breakfast, they ask him about it, and he's like, "All right, I'm not going to lie to you anymore, I'm gay." His father was perfectly fine with it. His mother flipped out. She got up, she left the table, she just left breakfast after screaming. It was a horrible situation. So finally, the people that they played trivia with on the ship, I forget their names, but anyway, their son is also gay, and they're like, "It's no big deal, it's how he was born. He didn't choose this. It's just how he's made up, So she finally came around, and everything was good. But then when they got back from the cruise, Paul and Bruce started hanging out. They went out for dinner, and then whatever, this led to that, and ended up sleeping together several times. And they really fell in love with each other, which, and Bruce had to go back to New York because he was up for a promotion at his job. They asked him if he wanted to be a senior partner instead of a junior partner. And there were 3 guys up for the position. So he said, yeah, he would be, but he wasn't there as long as the others were. So he really didn't think he was going to get it. And he really didn't want it after getting with Paul again, because he really wanted to move back to Pennsylvania and transfer to the other office. So he had to leave to go back to New York on Sunday, and he was hysterical, crying the whole way home. And Paul was not dealing well with it either. And then Bruce had to go talk to Henry because he was having a nervous breakdown about it. And so he went over to Henry's house, and they were talking, and Bruce was like, "I just hope I don't get this promotion. It'll be so much easier," and everything. So I can't really tell you if he got the promotion or not, because that would give away the whole rest of the story. But so yeah, that's basically that story, and it's very emotional. It's about self-discovery, coming out, and romance and heartbreak. It's all over the board. There are very funny parts to it. There are very sad parts. There are very all right, we got this, kind of parts. Yeah, so it's really a very well put together story, in my opinion. Did I talk too long?
Wow, thank you very much.
Sorry.
Yeah, I like it. The next question is, was there a particular moment or experience that sparkled the idea for you?
What? I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
Oh, was there a particular moment or experience that sparkled, that makes you feel like, oh, this is personal?
Oh, what happened with me that I applied to this book?
Yes, exactly.
So I was, obviously I was gay my whole life because I was born that way, but I was a very strong Christian, and the church doesn't go for that, as I'm sure you know. And I ended up getting married to a woman.
Wow.
Because that's the way to do, that's the right thing to do, right? Well, we were both miserable because, again, I had to think of guys at the gym in order to have sex with her, right? Self-application here. So she ended up finally leaving after 4.5 years. We weren't getting along. And she was a really good Christian too. And I finally just said, you know what? if you want to make this work, I'll stay, but I really am not invested in it. So the ball's in your court. You decide. So the next day, she packed her stuff and left, which was a blessing. So then I ended up, my brother actually told my parents. I didn't even have to. He was pissed off about something. I don't know. So he told my mother, and she's like, okay, whatever. So she told my father, and he flipped the fuck out. He's like, that's just what we need. Because he's this macho, guy, sports guy. So then she told, her mother had already died years ago, my mother's mother. So she was out of the equation, but my father's mother was still around. And, she grew up in this Irish family, strict Irish Catholic. And my mother told her, and she's like, okay, whatever. I mean, it's not for me to decide who he is, It's perfectly fine with me. So my father was the only one that really flipped out. And that's why I alluded to Bruce's father flipping out, but it was his mother who actually did, just because that's how it's the opposite of what happened with me. So that's where that came from. The interesting thing is the next book that's coming out is actually my second book, and that's a gay Christian romance novel. It's this Christian retreat at a gay campground, and these two guys, Adam and Steve, that's the title. That's Acceptance for Adam and Steve. They meet at the camp. They're both virgins. They're both committed to celibacy, and they're very heavy Christians. And Steve's father's a pastor. He pastors the largest Methodist church in Pennsylvania, in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Am I getting feedback somehow? Sounds like somebody else is speaking. I can't very well mute myself, or you won't hear me.
Yes, I can.
But yeah, so that one's very, very Christian. But it then goes into the gay romance after the retreat. I don't know why there's so much feedback. There, it's better now. So that's that one. And then the other one, the fourth one, which is the third one written, is the sequel to the first one. The Diamonds from Darkness has a sequel, and that'll be out probably by the end of summer, I would say. Early fall at the latest. So those are my 4 books that I've written so far. 2 out, 2 still at the publisher. They're done. They just have to do the final formatting and whatever else needs to be done with them, and then they'll be out.
Okay. So now let's talk about Paul.
Okay. Paul lives on his parents' cattle farm in the country, and he's a very good-looking, muscular guy, very attractive. He basically runs the farm because his mother is a school teacher, and his father's kind of disabled. He used to run the farm, but he got injured, and he can't really do the day-to-day work any longer. So Paul basically runs the farm, and he has a few younger farm hands. They're like 19, 20-ish. Paul at this point is 27. Both Bruce and Paul are 27 at this point of the story. So, yeah, he just lives there, does his thing, doesn't have a partner or anything. He just basically hooks up with some guys here and there whenever he gets a chance. He goes to the gay bar, does trivia. I'm into trivia, can you tell? He goes down to the gay club in Music, which is like 30 minutes from his house. a couple times a week to play trivia, and that's all he really does. Hooks up with guys there or whatever. But yeah, I mean, the story doesn't really go into Paul's life too much, which I guess it probably should have. I mean, it's good enough, but it's not as detailed as Bruce's for sure. Because Bruce is the executive who's up for the promotion, who's wanting to move back home, who's, you know what I mean? It's mostly about Bruce, me. But that's pretty much Paul's story. He's just a simple farmer. He doesn't have any extravagant life until Bruce comes along. Then it gets better.
Okay, the next question is, did writing this book change you in any way personally?
Did it change my personality?
Exactly.
Not really. I mean, I think my personality changed more with the Adam and Steve one than it did with this one, because it was the realization. I mean, this one goes into it too, but the realization that being gay is okay. I had spent my whole life kind of like feeling broken, like I just didn't fit into the normal, quote unquote, normal profile of a man, because I liked men, and it was very hard for me, especially being, I grew up Baptist, so it was very, very hard to convince them that it's okay. But yes, through the writing journey, my personality has definitely gotten better and more accepting of myself.
Okay, if you have anything to tell to your reader, or if you have something to tell to someone like you, or someone that's going through something that you have passed through, what will it be?
That you're not broken. you're anyone who is being gay isn't a choice. It's just who we are. It's how we're born. It's a physical attraction to the same sex. I mean, I'm basically repulsed by female anatomy. I mean, it is gross to me. But, put me with a guy and I'm like all about it. You know what I mean? So I didn't choose that. That's just, and no one chooses that. That's something that God created them that way. And that's perfectly fine with anyone, and it should be perfectly fine with anyone. And the problem is that we were getting, in the US, we were definitely getting a lot better and more accepting of homosexual. But yeah, I mean, we were progressing greatly. The Pride festivals, everything, no one bothered anyone. Everyone kind of got along, even if they didn't really think it was great, but they still got along. But I just think we've gone back 50 years in the gay rights movement. But yeah, I mean, there are definitely a lot of places where you can feel accepted more than other places. Like there are some gay churches, well, not like affirming churches, I'll say. They're not necessarily completely gay churches, but they're affirming churches where they accept everybody there. They don't judge you and say you're wrong or bad or something. But that's what I think the readers need to know is that, I mean, that's why I wrote the book. You are not broken. There's nothing wrong with us to be like we are.
Okay. I think you have a question from Matthew.
Okay.
Now, his question is, what would you say to someone that is like you and he battling with depression and all because of who he is?
Right. And I used to have that too. But I got to the point where I was just, pardon my language, but fuck it. You know what I mean? I'm who I am, and that's no one else's business, and I accept myself for who I am. That's the important part. You just have to accept who you are and who you were born to be and embrace that. You just need to embrace yourself.
Wow, thank you very much. Now, the last question is, what you want readers to expect from you? Like your next book, what do you want them to expect? Do you want them to expect drama or funny things or acceptance or reality? Let's just say reality, something like
Well,
that.
not really reality. I mean, all my stuff is fiction, but it's based on things that really do happen. And I'm all over the place, with my books. I mean, this is literally just a gay romance novel based on a Hallmark story. It really is. I mean, that's basically my intent when I wrote it and how I did it. And it only took me about 3 or 4 weeks to write this book because the story was in my head. But the first book got really dark because of Thomas, who's the main character, who was based on me up until high school. He became a vigilante serial killer after his male gay cousin got raped by 6 guys.
What?
So, what? This is Diamonds from Darkness.
Oh,
This is not this book. So he got raped by 6 guys, and they decided that they're going to take care of these guys, right? They're going to kill these guys. Well, they started to do that. And then Thomas is a vet student. He's going to school to be a veterinarian. And he works at a vet hospital. And they come across some pretty nasty animal treaters, like animal abusers and stuff. And they end up taking out some of those as well along the way. So, and then that book's kind of short. It's only maybe 180 pages, 170 pages. This book is 388 pages, the Bruce and Paul novel, as is the Adam and Steve novel. The second book from Diamonds from Darkness is called The Darkness Shines, and that's going deeper into Thomas's rabbit hole of serial killing. So those are my 4 stories right now. And then my husband said to me a couple weeks ago, he's like, you really need to write a story about the police that are chasing Thomas. So I'm like, well, they don't really know who Thomas is because there's no body for evidence the way they kill these people. So so I started writing this story the other day, a couple days ago. It's a lesbian lieutenant at the police station, and her lesbian lover is a nurse, charge nurse at the hospital for the university. And that's all I wrote so far. I didn't get very far into that one, but that's going to be my next project. The second Adam and Steve novel is half done. And then this one, every one of my novels ends without an ending, if that makes sense. They end on cliffhangers, and I know that aggravates people because it aggravates me when it happens, but it builds anticipation for the next book. So that's kind of why I do it. But every single one just ends without a logical ending. It's just done. So it's a little game I like to play.
thank you very much. So that will be the end of our interview. And
Okay.
Once again, this will be ready because I think you did a nice job and a great job. And a note from me to you is that you're doing well. And let me just put it this way: you're a great author, and I'm sure your readers will be blessed to come across your book.
Yeah, I hope so, because it means a lot. It's
Oh,
it's
you
an
know what?
important story.
That is the truth. I'm not joking.
No, it is. It's very much needed for the LGBTQ community, because they need to know they're not broken, and they're not sick, and they're not, they don't have anything wrong with them.
Exactly. Thank you very much once again.
I'm cool with anything.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All
Bye.
right. Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.